Before I get started, this game features a lot of full field red and blue flashing, and because it's a central feature of the game, I can't really edit around it. So if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, give this episode a pass. The moment you hear that music, you can just go, oh no, Eurogame. Hudson Hawk is yet another game that originally came through mega publisher Ocean Software. And it's another one that demonstrates their commitment to the level of, whatever, quality. The thing I find really annoying in Hudson Hawk is that I can actually see the outline of something playable here. It features the good things that you can find in 8-bit Euro platformers, and then buries them under 12 metric tons of absolute garbage. Hudson Hawk was an infamous theatrical bomb, a vanity project by Bruce Willis where he played the leader of a team of thieves that timed their capers using music. At the time, people called it one of the worst films ever made, but in retrospect it's just kind of blandly mediocre. Also, the film has this line.
Will you play Nintendo with me?
The game is much, much worse. The plot of the game kind of follows the movie. You're controlling Hudson Hawk, and across the game's 3 stages, you're performing 3 heists. That's right, only 3 stages. Only they're really huge stages that are broken up into a lot of small segments, and are pretty much guaranteed to make you miserable the whole way through. As you're moving through levels, A jumps, and B will do a couple of things. Tap it and you'll throw a baseball. That can hit people to knock them out, or some dogs will decide to chase after them. Holding down B will throw a punch, and you have to use punches to hit certain items, or in some cases, knock out enemies that were stunned by your baseball. I need to get this out of the way early. Hudson Hawk is a game that controls terribly. There's this weird momentum when you move, where there's only really 2 levels of speed, and you'll suddenly kick from one to the other, even mid-jump. And because of that, any kind of consistency in the platforming is nightmarish. And the game requires a great deal of precision in your movement, which you just don't have. Your hop is pathetic, even if it wasn't inconsistent. And sometimes things in the game just break. Like the first time I got here, this chair didn't do anything. So I spent the next several minutes trying to jump over this hole on my own. Turns out the chair was supposed to bounce you, it just didn't for me. It's even more fun when the game decides to just eat your jump input so you don't do anything when you need to. You have a health bar in Hudson Hawk, not that you'd know it. You have to hit start to bring up this screen where you can see your health, and does that say quit? I'm genuinely impressed at how little thought they put into these ports. Why would you even have that? As you're exploring levels, there will be some things that will set off an alarm, like these electric eyes you have to crawl under, or pressure-sensitive floors. When the alarm goes off, it means, absolutely nothing. You don't get additional enemies, the enemies that are there don't become tougher, you just have a flashing screen for a while. Really, they don't seem to matter at all. Something that does matter is that there's a pretty significant number of instant death traps. You have that health bar, but the only thing that seems to damage the health bar are people that move around. Anything else just kills you instantly, including cameras for some reason. There are a few puzzles to solve in Hudson Hawk. It's usually things like push boxes around so you can make a platform. The boxes will reset themselves if they wind up in a spot where they can't move, which usually means right next to the thing that you're trying to jump onto. There's also areas where you have to flip switches to turn traps on and off. Sometimes the switch will flash after you hit it, and that means there's a limited time before the trap turns back on. There's no vertical scrolling in Hudson Hawk for some reason, so if you go off the top of the screen, you flip to another screen, and sometimes that puts you into danger instantly. You have 5 lives and 2 continues with which to beat Hudson Hawk, and if you continue, you go back to the very beginning of the heist. So even though the first heist consists of 7 very long segments, it's back to the beginning if you stumble into too many instant death traps. Hudson Hawk is another one of those games that's totally forgotten in Japan. Just one that nobody talks about. Let's be real here, they probably shouldn't be talking about it. Hudson Hawk is a game so poorly designed that in the first 5 seconds of the game, you're grabbed by a dog and thrown off a roof as you learn how shoddy the jump is. It's a game that randomly mixes doors that you can enter with just background. And there isn't much to do in the game other than rush through the levels. The only things around to pick up are just worth points. It's just a mess. And yet, I do appreciate how they fit in some puzzles, and that the exploration sections are okay-ish. It's not the worst Euro game on the Famicom, but you'll definitely want to stay away from this one.